Well, good Monday morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. I'm your host, Monica Adams. You know, we made the comment here in the studio that it was warmer today. It actually felt nice. We all were like, do we need a coat? Well, we'll ask Beckett that here in just a second. We're going to give you some news you can use. And Jenny Gabriel, she's one of your favorites from JG Optimal Wellness, the nutritional practitioner. She's going to talk about perimenopause and 7 archetypes. So that is what's on tap for you today. Hope you had a great weekend. Let us know what you did. Are you getting excited for the Olympics to start? Are you excited for the Super Bowl? All of that in the coming days. And they also had the Grammys. Did you watch them over the weekend? So a few questions for you to drop in as you say good morning to you, community. All right, let's get to the weather. It's been up and down. Let's see if we have any snow. It's going to be bitterly cold again. The man with all those answers is Beckett Moore in a segment we call What the Weather.
Good morning from St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, good morning, my friend Beckett Moore, the aspiring meteorologist, back from Memphis. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
Okay, so today's a big day, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right, tell the community what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so my mom's only facial store in Memphis. It is opening today, and first customers coming in probably here in an hour.
Oh, how exciting. All right, I need to travel to Memphis and let them take care of my face. That's just the relaxation of it. So the only facial, look it up in Memphis, Tennessee. If you have family and friends, please go and support his mama. So congratulations, Jill. Excited about that. Well, you're back from Memphis, and now we're looking into our weather here in St. Louis, Missouri, Southern Illinois, etc. We've been up and down. We all said it felt a little warmer today, but that's probably not going to stick around, or is it?
Actually, it is going to be a lot warmer this week than last week because we have gone 10 days without getting above the freezing mark, and that's going to change later today.
Okay, yeah, so we were talking about getting into February, and people were like, is it going to get colder? And I said, well, it looks like it's going to be on a warmer stretch. So we'll let Beckett tell you all about that. All right, Beckett, take it away for us.
Yeah, so looking at the current conditions right now, 31 degrees. We've struggled to get to that for highs in the last 10 days as we haven't gotten above freezing. Overcast skies, 20-degree dew point. Our sunset tonight at 5:24. Bus stop forecast this afternoon, warming up to 38 degrees. Again, getting above freezing. Definitely going to be nice to feel that with the sunshine. Mix of clouds and sunshine as we head into those afternoon hours. Low of 26 tonight. Tomorrow, cooling down a little bit. We do have a slight chance of some snow showers, some wintry mix across the area before noon, but overall we're looking at most of that to our southeast. Even if we do get some of that here, we're looking at very light accumulations, nothing to really affect travel too much. 17 degrees as our low. Wednesday, coldest day of the week, 30 degrees as your high, but we do have mostly sunny skies. Then warming up Thursday, Friday into the 40s. By Friday, 45, that'll be very nice and above average, mostly sunny skies. And then heading into the weekend, continuing with highs from 40 to the mid-40s. All of this snow on the ground, I think a lot of it's going to be melted by this weekend.
Well, that's good to hear because literally we drove into the neighborhood last night. I'm like, when is this going to melt? I'm tired of looking at it.
I know. We were like, it's still here when we got back.
Well, again, we got so much and it's been so bitterly cold. Well, this is nice to see as we get into February. So we'll watch what things happen on Tuesday, but Beckett's at least alerting you of the possibility of maybe just a little bit snow. Okay, we'll talk to you again on Friday. It's going to feel like a heat wave at that point.
Yes, it is. See you then.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much. And again, congratulations to your mama.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Beckett Moore, again, our aspiring meteorologist in a segment we call What the Weather. Okay, getting into news. This is a winery that had just opened in Gasconade County, and now it's gone. Look at this fire. A 4-alarm fire that prompted a multi-agency response in Gasconade County. According to the Owensville Fire Protection District, at around 1:20 in the morning, reports came out of a fire at Wenwood Winery, which is on Highway K in actually Bay, Missouri. The call was automatically upgraded to a 2-alarm due to the extreme cold. Firefighters arrived within 20 minutes of the report, found a 15,000 square foot, 2-story commercial building that was half involved. At that time, the call was upgraded to a 3-alarm. Fire crews deployed multiple portable tanks to the front and behind the building, as well as multiple hand lines. Then the call was upgraded to a 4-alarm due to the extreme cold and travel time to the closest reliable fire hydrant. You know, we don't even think about what they go through trying to get the fire under control. It was brought under control just before 4 a.m. Crews remained on the scene until almost 7 a.m. The building considered a total loss, which is devastating. No one was in the building at the time. That is the good news. It is, of course, being investigated by the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office. So I was looking at some of the social media posts, and from Owensville Fire Protection District, if you follow them, you'll see just how devastating that fire was, all ablaze. I mean, there's a couple of pictures that we're showing you, but again, so sad as that literally just opened. Okay, we were talking about the cold weather, and for some of you, you hear about the possibility of pipes freezing. So when does it actually happen? Here is when it happens and how you can prevent things like this from happening to you. Especially confusing, weather experts tell residents not to run water when temperatures hit 32 degrees. And so some community members are like, well, what do I do? After all, water freezes at 32 degrees, right? Well, not exactly. The freezing process takes some time. It's not instant. Freeze at 32 degrees? No, because the freezing process needs a certain amount of time to begin. So at 32 degrees, it can take as long as a few days to freeze those pipes at that constant temperature. Think about ice cubes, by the way, in a freezer. Even at 0 degrees, it takes time for them to freeze, right? The air needs to be colder outside to pull more heat from the water before freezing can begin. So the freezing process is difficult to begin when the water's running and moving through the pipes. That's why it's often recommended to leave the faucets dripping when temperatures hit 32 degrees or colder, which Beckett just told us it will. We're going to get down into 17 degrees Tuesday night. In northern states where it stays below freezing for long periods of time, running water will still freeze. Construction in those areas, however, is meant to handle the constant cold. So as we get back into those cold temperatures, again, just a little trickle. And I also, over the years, was also told by experts to open up the cabinet doors, again, bringing that warmth in. So just some friendly advice in what we say is news you can use. Now, when it is cold, we're always talking about taking care of the elderly, taking care of the pets. Here is how to help the stray cats as you're seeing them run around, or other animals in the extreme winter weather. As sub-freezing temps continue across St. Louis, with KMOV, they talked with the community cat coordinator at the Carroll House Quick Fix Clinic about how they make cold weather shelters for community cats out of everyday tools and how you can make them at home. The shelters help stray and feral cats, such as many that we are seeing throughout our area right now. The outdoor shelters can be made from styrofoam coolers and other types of coolers and containers, such as Rubbermaid boxes. They are then sealed and a 6-inch opening is cut into the side. The container is then filled with fresh, clean straw to help insulate the cats and keep them warm. So for those who are unable to make the shelters, extra shelters are made and posted into a Facebook group called St. Louis Feral Cat Outreach for people to pick up. Pretty cool, right? You can also, if you're trying to help, right, the community cats in other ways, there's a trap neuter release program that aims to curb the population. Spay and neuter surgery, of course, for feral and community cats available for $25, and you can make an appointment by going online at carrollhousepetclinic.org or 314-771-PET. And of course, we love everything that Carroll House does. They are so amazing in our community. All right, Costco facing a lawsuit. Maybe you've been there several times and you've gotten this, the rotisserie chicken that they are famous for. Well, it's now Costco. Even though those rotisserie chickens could be affordable, they're at the center of a possible class action lawsuit. In a January 22nd filing in a Southern California district court, the wholesale retailer is accused of false advertising. Now, Costco advertises that there are no preservatives in the chicken. The filing states, however, Costco's seasoned rotisserie chicken contains sodium phosphate and other preservatives, even though they said there wasn't. Costco released a statement to USA Today saying those ingredients are used to keep the chicken moist and ensure consistency during cooking. The company said both ingredients are approved by food safety authorities. Costco said it has removed the labeling and the signage about the preservatives. So we'll see if that actually does go anywhere. All right, Sanford & Son fans, you'll recognize this gentleman. Unfortunately, he passed away. Sanford & Son star Damon Wilson died at the age of 79. They are confirming that he died Friday at his home in California, unfortunately, of complications from cancer. Okay, I asked you if you're getting ready for the Super Bowl. If you know who the Super Bowl performer is, it's Bad Bunny. Well, he was excited. Look at this over the weekend. I'm not sure if you watched the Grammys or not, but Bad Bunny won Album of the Year at the 2026 Grammy Awards, a first, by the way, for a Spanish language album. Pretty cool, right? The comment from Bad Bunny was, "To all the people who worked on this album, thank you for giving birth to me in Puerto Rico, Mama. I love you." Puerto Rico, believe me when I tell you that we are much bigger than 100 by 35, he said, and there's nothing we can't achieve. Thank God. Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to all the people who have believed in me throughout my career. So congratulations right before he performs at the Super Bowl. All right, so if you're a fan of Survivor 50 coming to the state of Missouri. Yeah, we're also coming off of the winner being one of our former coworkers at Channel 5, Savannah Louie. She won. The Survivor 50 Challenge, a first-of-its-kind national scavenger hunt. An immunity idol will be placed in each state for idol hunters to find. Fans will need to solve riddles to find the idol in their own state, and anyone who finds one of the 50 idols will have the chance to win a grand prize trip to LA for the live Survivor 50 finale in May. If you want more information and to see some clues, I'm going to drop a comment in for you. Survivor 50, by the way, debuts Wednesday, February 25th, and you can see that on the station where we do a lot of our news, our friends over at KMOV. So again, check the comments right now. I just dropped that in for you. Pretty cool, right? You can get off to LA and then maybe get a chance to see the finale. We're talking about Super Bowl, right? Everybody's getting ready for it. Inside, the concerts, the parties, the celebrity scene, heading into the big game. If you are going, by the way, Wednesday they have the Power Brunch and the early arrivals. Thursday, Bad Bunny, NFL honors, and a big concert night. The day begins with the Super Bowl halftime and pregame performers media event. Bad Bunny, Charlie Puth, Brandi Carlile, Coco Jones. Friday, Shaq, Post Malone, and more will be in the Madden Bowl. And then, of course, Saturday, Dave Chappelle and Fanatics anchors Super Bowl Eve, getting ready for game day and the fan experiences coming up on Sunday. If you've ever been lucky enough to go to the Super Bowl, I'm telling you, the days leading up to it are so amazing. I was blessed one time, and that was when the Rams won the Super Bowl. I went down just a few days early. The scene is just amazing. So let me know, are you watching Super Bowl, by the way? I was like, who's even playing? Oh, okay. Seattle's in, and is it New England and Seattle? I'm trying to remember. I'm not a big NFL fan. I'm a big college football fan, but I used to be growing up. Tell me, are you a bigger NFL or a college football fan? And will you be watching, or are you just there to watch the commercials and have a good time with your friends? All right, the Blues are back in action. It was exciting to see them win the other day. The Blues will be playing the Predators. Game time today is at 7 p.m. And it's the National Day of Calendar. What's on tap? Ukulele Day, National Tater Tot Day. That'll make Reba McEntire happy. You know, when she was on The Voice, she was always giving out tater tots. National Heavenly Hash Day, and it is National Groundhog Day. So what will that groundhog say? Do we have more winter coming? Well, the weather we're looking at right now looks like we're gonna get into spring earlier, which would be good. But we'll find out, because today it's always Punxsutawney Phil making his predictions, right? Groundhog Day, National Groundhog Day. Maybe it's a day to actually watch that movie. I love that Bill Murray movie. It makes me laugh so hard. All right, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll let you know, because usually it's around this time that we would break into it during the news. We'll find out what Phil says. That's it. You're all up to date in the news you can use. Everybody that's been signing on, good morning to you. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We're going to take our break, and when we come back, Jenny Gabriel, JG Optimal Wellness, joins us. Bring your questions to the table. She can help you out here, but more importantly, it's the one-on-one stuff that she does. And getting into her Facebook group, we'll talk about all of that. Perimenopause on the table today, and the 7 archetypes. That's the discussion here on The Real Monica Adams Show. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of The Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? Do you go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the show, in the very first 10 to 15 minutes, we'd like to get you an update on things that we think that you would talk about to your family and friends. Pass those things along. News you can use. I'm going to introduce my guest, and then I'm going to ask her this question. So Jenny Gabriel, JG Optimal Wellness, on our Medical Mondays. First of all, hello.
Hello, my friend.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's crazy. Everybody has been asking, how's Mama doing? She's much better. It's the first thing that Jenny asked, so thank you. She is doing much, much better. But I was in the area where her therapy is, walking by, and they've got the news on, right, in the little rotunda where everybody's just kind of hanging around. And as I walk by to take her down into the for lunch, all I hear is shooting. And as I'm walking down the hall, I'm like, why do we want to wake people up with this?
Yeah,
it was literally, they did one shooting and then they're like, and then another shooting and then another shooting. I was like, I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, I bet you don't.
All of you, I'm like, do you want to hear? I don't know. It makes you reassess, like, why?
Yeah.
Why did we just throw that in your face for the first 10, 15 minutes? I'm not doing that. So we bring you news you can use, right? So another thing. So also Jenny was like, did you hear about Lindsey Vonn?
Yeah. I'm
So
sad
somebody
about
wrote me
that.
over the weekend and said, did you see that she had fallen? And I did, but I didn't see the rest. So she's out.
She's out.
Oh, that's devastating.
That was
Knee?
her post. She fell in Switzerland, I guess, through the timing, whatever, and they had to take her by helicopter off the hill, and she posted later that her
Olympic,
Olympic,
her last, and she was going to be her last?
This was going to be her last anyway, but it's
I love
officially.
her. She's a great role model, by the way.
Awesome role model. I was just so heartbroken for her because, you work so hard to get to that point. And for her, there was so much more to it, too, knowing it was her last, too. And then for that to happen, it's just a bummer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were still doing testing. I don't know. When she posted, she said they're still doing testing, but she would not be at the Olympics.
For all of you, again, that maybe had not heard that, I wanted to deliver it this way.
Yeah,
just
it's
again,
sad.
it absolutely. So there were a few people that wrote me and they're like, "Hey, we're going to be doing some Olympic coverage, by the way. I can't wait to introduce you to the woman on Wednesday. If you're an Instagram fan, and maybe you're watching on Instagram right now, follow Make That Magic. She is hilarious, first of all. Her name is Michaela Tuggle, and I have to thank Michelle Harmon. Michelle sent me her information. She's like, you and Michaela have to do something for the Olympics. So if you follow her, you'll see that she had done some things in the past, and then she skyrocketed. She has, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. People love her. So she and I are talking about doing the coverage. And I asked you last week, what do you want to see us cover? So I'll ask you as well. We are definitely doing figure skating because
I want to see figure skating.
She used to figure skate. So
100%
she's the expert on figure skating.
Yeah.
I love to ski, and so I definitely want to do skiing. Somebody said they wanted to see hockey. I want to do curling because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it. I don't. It's like,
It's
I
more
don't
so
know
the
if I have
person.
patience.
It's not even that. It's the person in front, right? That is going.
Yeah, that
And I'm
one.
like, what are you
That's
doing?
working really
It's
hard.
air, and I get it, but I'm
yeah.
like, how is that a sport? I have so much to talk about. So the Olympics. Will you watch the opening ceremony, the closing ceremonies, and what will you watch? I'll be looking at comments throughout the show, and then a little bit later on, drop those in for me. All right, how have you been, first of all?
Good.
Yes?
Good. We survived the snow apocalypse.
Yes. It's still there.
I know. But it sounds like, according to Beckett, we're going to be getting rid of some of it. So
We need to. We need sunshine
ready.
and warmer above freezing. So
Yeah.
yes, it'll get out of here, and we'll see what the rest of February looks like. So yes, I'm glad you were able to make it in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we had to
Yeah.
cancel we had to do some virtual things what was it? When did the snow fall? Was it last Monday?
It was last
week?
last weekend.
Yeah,
yeah,
last weekend.
Saturday,
Yes,
Sunday.
yes.
Yeah.
So we actually haven't been in studio because of that. So getting back to normal and getting back to these shows that I know you absolutely love. If you are new to Jenny, and I know there's always brand new people that are tuning in, let's give you all the information of how you can find her, because you're going to hear all the brilliant things she has to say on this show. But like anything, it's not just cookie cutter. It's very individualized. So Jenny Gabriel, it's Jenny at jgoptimalwellness.com. Her website is jgoptimalwellness.com. And then find her on social media at jgoptimalwellness. Again, a nutritional practitioner for you. Free assessment call, you can scan that, or you can get into her Facebook group, which she has about 1,400 plus and growing, Menopause Belly Secrets. That's how you can find her. Do that, and you'll find yourself a community that is there waiting for her expert advice. So we talk a lot about menopause, postmenopause. We talked about andropause for the men.
Yeah, we did.
Now we're going to get into perimenopause. Before we get into that, and we're going to talk about 7 archetypes today. What is the difference between a lot of people ask this question, like, can she break it down for us again? Perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and how long are we in all of those?
Yeah, okay, so perimenopause can start as young as 35 now because of toxins, and we'll talk a little bit about toxins because it's actually in one of our archetypes today. But could start as young as 35, okay? Perimenopause early to perimenopause late. So it kind of depends when you go in, right? When you go out. So that can last for a few years, 5, 10 years, depending. I mean, if you go in at 35, it could be 45, 50 before you hit menopause. When you hit menopause, that's when you no longer have a cycle. But you don't realize that because it's that whole year. It's like you kind of reflect back, right? So the year of menopause is actually the first full year you go without a cycle.
So you have to go 365 days without having a period in order to officially be in menopause.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about an archetype that hits there too today. And then after that, we go into what I call postmenopause, and you got early and then you've got late. And you usually spend about 5 years in that first phase of it, and then after that, it could last the rest of your life.
When do women get a break?
Well, I mean, the symptoms do get better, right? Our focus changes. And today, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit with perimenopause because it kind of jumps all over the place. Hormones are all over the place and we shift all over the place. So you may be in one archetype, for 6 months, and then you may shift and be in something else the next year. So
it's interesting, this conversation, and this is a good thing, by the way, is all over the place over the last year plus. If you're on social media, everyone is talking about this.
Right.
I also had a gentleman, and he'll be coming on with us. We don't have a date just yet, but we're going to be showcasing. It's a physician that opened up, I guess we can be considered a med spa, but he does a lot of red light therapy. And then I asked him,
nice.
I said, so doctor, what is the biggest part of your business? And he said hormone replacement therapy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And weight loss, those two together, right? Everyone coming in and whether it's tirzepatide or Ozempic or Wegovy, all that's out there. And I was like, yep, that's, if you look back, like what's the biggest thing that's Googled in the last year?
Yeah.
It is those two things. But now, and he and I stress this, it is making sure you find someone that you can trust
100%.
with all the information you're trying to decipher.
Right. There's so many pieces to that puzzle, right? And that's awesome me saying that because there is. I mean, you just don't do hormone replacement, or you don't just do the shots or the pills
on your own, trying to figure it out.
And you don't leave out the foundations, because if you don't have foundational work done, you can do all that you want. You're just not going to get the most benefit from it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are focusing on perimenopause today, all right? So, and again, if you have any questions, I will bring up the comments, because I do want you to never sit there and go, I'm still confused. Like, well, what am I experiencing? But the biggest thing is we don't want you to think that your life is over when you get into this, and that we've said this before, if anybody dismisses you, make sure that you find someone that is there to take care of you, because no, you do not have to suffer. You can have your quality of life back, and you can thrive again. Okay, so the 7 perimenopause archetypes. Let's talk about this.
Right. So, this is the one thing I want everybody to understand. Perimenopause is, it isn't just like one experience, one experience, one and done kind of thing. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to break down the 7 most common archetype hormonal changes that we see. So they're kind of based on like a hormone pattern. Okay. All right. So women, you guys can finally understand why you're having these symptoms, and then, what's happening and why it's happening.
I like this. So Jenny gives us a visual idea. So midlife woman's silhouette, soft overlays of words like energy, sleep, mood, weight, stress.
Right.
Think about all those as you break those down. Right. So the little silhouette and in our minds, or you can actually drop in. I would like to know what words you use with that.
Yeah.
So you associate with this. What do you think as you are looking at the midlife aspect, as you go into 35 or 40 and you start to approach that? Like I'm trying to go back. when I'm in that age, I never even talked about this until
Well, it
I got to
wasn't
be
talked about.
right, that's it, right? So I want
And
you
we're
all to
just
think
now
about it.
talking about it. I mean,
I didn't talk about it until I
No.
was, so I didn't even know I was in perimenopause. How about that?
Yeah,
I'll just
most
say
people
that.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
they're
just like,
thinking, what's going on with me?
yeah,
Why is this
I don't
happening?
even think I even knew
Is
it
this
was really
normal?
a thing. It was more so of, when's menopause, right? So I was 48, 49 probably. And my sister-in-law said something and I'm like, all right, here I go. I'm 50. Let's see what's going to happen here. And didn't even realize something was happening before that.
Right.
So that's why I really like the fact that we're addressing perimenopause today.
Yeah, because this way you can identify with it and just know that you're not just going to be one. So as we talk through these today, you might be going, and that one too. Oh, and that one too. It's typically a blend, but we usually address the one that's the loudest first of the archetypes.
And as you're walking with people, again, more so hand in hand with them to say, okay, this is you. This is the category.
Yeah, and then
helping
we work
you know
through that category, and then we reassess that. Every so often we'll reassess that because as the hormones shift, that may put you in a different archetype, or you may already have 3 or 4 archetypes as a blend. One of them is going to probably be predominantly the loudest, but then you might have 1 or 2 that's just like right below that all of a sudden becomes the primary.
And it's screaming loudly.
Yeah, and it's screaming loudly. Yeah, so it's a blend, guys. So don't look at it like, oh, I'm just one, because you're not going to be one. I looked at this, I've done the quiz, and I'm not just the one. And I look back. I always use this with even clients who are postmenopausal. It's very beneficial to know where they came from.
Sure.
Like what were their highest markers, so that as we go into postmenopause, we can address better the bone density, the metabolic health component, and the cardiovascular part.
And take care of those things early. I'm just saying this as I'm looking at my mother who's full-blown into osteoporosis, right? To know, are you taking the right supplements? Are you eating properly to take care of first osteopenia, osteoporosis, full-blown? What do you need to do? Because your bones,
you getting the DEXA scan?
Yes.
Because here's the other thing with this. Is that's typically not something you see women getting earlier in age, because they don't require it. It's usually like when you're in your 60s. And, that's one of the things, like, if you have the opportunity to take a DEXA scan, which you can take it without, being in the 60s. I recommend doing that. So you have a baseline. You can see. So like if you're even starting to see some osteopenia, there's ways that you can actually settle that down by strength training, dietary reasons, all of those things factor in. So
again, being armed with the right information. If you're just tuning in, I'll look at any comments, and I'll also have Zach let us know if there's anything coming in on our alternate platforms that I don't have access to this morning. Please do so. Again, Jenny Gabriel, nutritional therapy practitioner, breaking down these 7 perimenopause archetypes. So, estrogen excess.
Yeah, that's the first one I want to talk about. And this one's typically very high estrogen. We got low progesterone on board. I see women, this is usually going to be seen earlier in perimenopause, okay, because they're coming off or are using IUDs and birth control, okay? Because those will actually hide the clues of what's going on with the hormones that are happening.
Okay.
All right, so some of the symptoms we're going to see is you're going to see those heavier, painful periods. You're going to have frequent cycles. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have night sweats. You're going to have weight gain.
Okay.
Breast tenderness around the cycle. Okay. And then, trouble falling asleep. You might see some struggles with lower libido happening. And then emotionally, we're going to see a lot of mood swings probably, and some irritability, especially around as
around your cycle?
Yeah.
So, so as we're breaking this down, again, we're going through 7 of them. Go ahead and write, that's me. And if that's you, it is, she's saying, there are things that they can do to help you. Is this you? I'm looking at that thinking that was me.
Yeah.
My periods were so painful, right? So my mom used to always talk about that, and she was like, mine weren't so painful. She would pass out, though. She was constantly passing out. I was like, oh, that's weird. She'd be in church, and they said, oh, she'd go down. I know, right? I don't know if that was an iron deficiency, if that was, I don't know. But I was like, okay.
Was it always during when she was cycling?
Yes.
Right.
So again, things to be thinking about. I had painful, again, my ovaries would bother me, and then I had my back would ache so bad. So that was me. in the past. And I would have loved for someone to say, oh, hey, well, this is what's going on. So let us know. Is that you? Okay. If not, number 2 is the cortisol craver.
Yeah, this is going to be the person that's going to be the wired but tired person. Okay. Their body is stuck in like the survival mode the whole time. And I'm going to tell you guys, survival always wins over hormones. And so what we see with this is the suppression from the cortisol. The cortisol goes so high or the chronic stress makes the cortisol so high, and cortisol, when it's high, will suppress those hormones. Okay. So that's where we see, and this is very common in perimenopause.
I was just going to say, you say the most common pattern?
It is. And I think, we've talked a lot about stress on here, a lot about cortisol on here. And, a lot of things factor into this, the sandwich generation, taking care of parents and, kids and at the same time, and stress with work and this and that. The stress pattern is just a little bit higher. And then if your hormones are in a chaos, that's just going to cause stress to be a little bit higher too. But
some of these, you said that they blend. Some of these are carryover because we talked about weight gain and the physical symptoms.
Yeah, they do.
In
You'll
the
see a
estrogen
common
person.
theme that some of these will all have the weight gain. Some cortisol will see more belly fat, more situated around there. This one, you're going to have more mid-afternoon fatigue, and that's because we're crashing and you're spiking and crashing typically with this. You're balls to the wall the first part of the day, and then you just finally crash. And it could be a sugar handling thing that goes along with that, because we see hunger and cravings with this. So I'll see salt and sugar be both very, or one or the other. It could be both or one or the other. We will see an increase in craving those as well.
What does it tell you if someone is more a sodium craver and a sugar craver?
Well, when someone is more sodium, that makes me think about the adrenals, which would play really well into this cortisol craver.
Okay.
Because the adrenals are the little balls that sit on top of our kidneys.
Okay.
And those actually take over the hormones production when our ovaries shut down after menopause.
Okay.
So if we are always got the foot on the pedal,
Yep.
we're stressing those. And so if they're stressed now, listen, ladies, if they're stressed now, what are they going to provide you later?
Right.
Be thinking that way. So stress management's really key here, trying to keep that cortisol level down. There's lots of things that we can do within this, but you're going to also see anxiety levels higher. You're going to see irritability with this one too. Brain fog is going to be very predominant. And then motivation, because you're tired.
So that sounds like every friend I had during that time.
Yeah.
That's all everybody used to say to me. And they're like, aren't you feeling these? No, I didn't have brain fog. I didn't have that. I was wired all day long, and I don't know how. And I slept really well. So I really do believe I was the first one. But as Jenny is saying, you're going to fit into either one or a handful of these. So let us know. So let's see. Babs said, good morning. No, nothing. She makes this topic so understandable. Fantastic.
Thank you. Glad that's
Cindy
helping.
just said, this is me for sure. Okay, that's what I want to know. Comment. We're going to take a quick break. Comment. Which one of those so far? We've gone through two. Do you think you're the cortisol craver, or do you think you're estrogen excess, which I believe is who I was?
Are you
or
a blend?
both? Or or are you blend? All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the next one, which is the liver lover.
Yeah.
What's that all about? As we get ready for Valentine's Day, I don't think it's the same. All right, more with Jenny Gabriel when we return.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Welcome back. Thanks again for tuning into the Real Monica Adams Show. We're getting deep into perimenopause and breaking these 7 archetypes down. We've gone through a couple of them, and I see some of you weighing in saying, oh, that second one was me for sure. This is me. Let's see. Both for me, predominantly cortisol, Jenny says. Cindy says I'm a sodium craver, and I was a blend of both, Linda said. Yeah, so keep dropping in. We like to know our audience. I also saw all of your comments about I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I am. It's gotten too commercialized. Will you watch the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I'm sure it'll be on. At our
It's in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, so you won't go to a party or anything.
I don't think so. I don't think there's, unless my brother does something. If we do anything for Super Bowl, it's with my brother. But, it's usually because we're watching the Chiefs, and we know that's not happening.
That's what my husband said.
Yeah.
He's like, the Chiefs aren't in, so I
Yeah.
mean,
I really feel like Seattle's going to win it, though.
okay, she's already predicting.
That's just where my gut's
that's
going.
your feeling? All right. So again, feel free to drop in any comments that you want. We're running through the 7 archetypes. So we talked about 2. I went to the break saying type 3 is the liver lover. What the heck is this?
So this is where the liver struggles. And if the liver is struggling, then the hormones cannot be released from the body.
Okay.
Okay, because that's our detoxification organ. So that means that the hormones are not clearing properly. And so what will happen is we'll start to see symptoms start to stack.
Okay.
And they'll be less predictable.
Okay.
So that's kind of a problem when our detoxification systems are not open. And liver's one of them. That's why we call this one the liver lover, because the liver's so key in helping get the estrogen out as it breaks down. And we don't want those estrogen metabolites just sitting there because that's not a good thing. We want them to clear. And so, there's digestive processes too that, come in this. But today we're just going to talk about the liver. We're going to see a lot of elevated estrogen. We're going to see elevated cortisol, and we're going to see elevated insulin. And why? This is what I want women to understand too, and be very curious around this. You're going to see this pattern and a couple others too. This is a sign that you're becoming insulin resistant and not insulin sensitive. Now, let's break that down just because people are going to go, what's that mean? So we're going to break it down. What that means is like the glucose stuff that can't get into the cell. And when it can't get into the cell, then it's going to get into our tissue. And that's not where we want it to go.
Right.
And when we store it there, we're storing it as fat.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. And we're not releasing it. So it's really important that we stay, and that messes with stay sensitive, but that messes with our blood sugar handling.
Yes.
And that's key. And so that becomes a food thing too.
And this is where, and we've mentioned this in the past, it's important to speak with your physician, have your labs done. So now I am going to say, I just told you I was 1, but I think I was a blend then of this one because when I had lab work done, suddenly they said, do you know you're insulin resistant? I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking at, I'm like, wait,
but you can change that.
Okay,
you
that was where I was going.
absolutely can reverse that.
So when you hear that, I was about ready to give up going, oh my God, am I getting ready? You're checking my A1C. Am I getting ready to go into a diabetic aspect? And then he's like, no. You just got to change some things.
Yeah.
So I'm not anymore.
Did they take the HISCRP, HSCRP, which is inflammation marker?
Maybe.
Because that will sometimes go along with that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone was told that, and again, you don't want to go into the mindset like I was getting ready to get into, which is, this is
this way it's going to be.
Right.
No, don't do that.
No.
There's things you can do. Lifestyle, nutrition.
Yep.
That's where someone like me comes into the fold.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I come into the fold to help with that.
Yes, because I don't know. At the time, I don't know if I was talking to friends around me that were nutritionists and dietitians or what, and we just started adjusting some things.
Yeah.
So this is where it comes back into play of if you're listening here and you're like, oh, wait, that's me. This is where she needs to dig deeper into it, can do some testing. She has a lot of different testing, by the way, and even added more as we've now gotten into 2026. So let her help you. Again, email her. Is that the easiest for people to reach out or DM you on Instagram or whatever?
DM me, email me. Yeah.
All right. Jenny at jgoptimalwellness.com. And again, if you want to DM her at jgoptimalwellness, but don't just take this information and not do anything with it.
Right.
So let's see.
Exactly. Don't just sit on it. Even if you're postmenopausal, don't just sit on it because this is another trajectory. This is just going to give us the information we need to help you with the other things that happen later.
Keep your comments coming in. I love your questions. So some people are, again, saying I'm a blend. Been told I have a fatty liver.
Yeah. Non-alcoholic fatty liver, very common. Yep.
Okay. And told postmenopause and pre-diabetic.
Okay.
Cindy said HS marker is what is needed.
Yep.
And then she said name of it. What's that?
HSCRP, it's an inflammation marker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, keep those questions coming in. I like this because I like to hear what you're struggling with or what you did, because then it can be what someone else learns from. So again, the liver lever, weight gain, just like we talked about before, fatigue, poor workout recovery.
Yeah, that's a real key
Interesting.
sign. That's a different sign that you would not be commonly looking for. But if you can't recover from your workouts, likely your detoxification pathway could be.
Meaning what in the recovery?
Well, you're just not recovering. You go from one workout and you never feel like you're recovered from the workout. Like you're beat. You don't ever feel like
Don't have the energy. Are they constantly sore and they can't break?
Yeah.
And headaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's really, you'll see this a lot of time in women having migraines and stuff like that. It's because they're not getting rid of the estrogen.
Right.
It's just remetabolizing into the system. And we
So
don't
the
want that to
symptoms are
happen.
confusing to you. This is your emotional standpoint.
Yeah.
Your anxiety, mood changes from multiple symptoms being off.
Right.
Interesting. So is that you? Okay, you can say there. We've got the names of them. One more time, if you're just tuning in, we talked about estrogen excess, number 1, cortisol craver, number 2, and then the liver lover, type 3. Are you blending, or do you see one rise to the top? Okay, number 4. Mighty mitochondria.
Yeah, so these are the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, so think of the mitochondria as the engine, as an engine, okay? If that engine is struggling, it doesn't matter how much motivation you put toward it, it's not going to perform.
Okay.
And that's our cell. If our cell is already tired, depleted, a lot of times what impacts this is like, again, inflammation. That HSCRP lab would be great to know. Okay, inflammation's on board. Toxins, I talked about that earlier this morning with you. Toxicity, that's in our clothes, it can be in our clothes, it can be in our foods, it can be in our hair and care products, our cleaning products. Those are things where toxicity comes in, or just environmentally.
I was going to say, we're breathing in.
Yeah, we can't live in a bubble, but we can choose some things to reduce. And you see this typically too in aging. Okay, we're going to see this start to happen. And this is one of those longevity factors that I like to work with in women, especially women going to postmenopause. It's never too late to work on the longevity piece of this, and you really want your mitochondria to be performing. So you're going to see a lot of chronic fatigue. Again, that headache. Notice this is a common theme, right, with these.
Yep.
Muscle cramping, just out of the blue, you start having muscle cramping happening off and on throughout the day without any kind of exertion or cause for it. Difficulty building strength. You just can't get strong, and not like you're, building muscle, but you just feel like you can't lift.
Yeah, they just
like
feel weak constantly.
Yeah, you feel weak. You don't feel like you can lift what you could at one time. Those are all going to be those signs that your mitochondria are kind of without the energy.
They're not mighty.
They're not mighty. We need to make them mighty.
I got to tell you, I think this might be my favorite show with you. This is very informative. Do you all agree with this?
good.
Again, she's had some phenomenal shows. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've educated you.
We have.
But this is really interesting for you to get this breakdown. Cindy just said, thank you for the name of the marker to watch. You're welcome.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so again, we're running through these, and as one rises to the top, again, dig in more with her, let her help you with that, or let us know, as some of you are saying, I'm a blend. I can't say that one fit with me, but so far I'm seeing 2 that I blended with. Type 5, we've got 3 more for you. The broken burner, what's this mean?
This is the woman that says, I've reduced my eating, I'm eating less, I'm exercising more, and nothing is working.
Okay, well, so this is 3 of mine then.
Yeah, and that's because what's happened is we're having a metabolic slowdown. This is a metabolic slowdown pattern. So we're going to start seeing the elevated insulin again, that common theme again, right? We're looking at that insulin going from sensitive to resistant, which we want to try to not do that. Thyroid might be a little bit sluggish. You kind of have some of those symptoms. Not saying you have a thyroid issue. It just becomes sluggish.
Right.
A slower metabolic rate. And
This is the one that I was questioning because my mom had thyroid issues, and all of a sudden I was like, I think I'm going to have an issue. That is exactly what was happening to me. So I don't know. Maybe this one was higher. I'm feeling very connected to number 1 and this particular one. And then it was a blend of number 3 a little bit. But yeah, is it typical for most people to be a blend, or is it
100%?
Okay.
I rarely have anybody take this quiz that is not a blend.
Okay.
I will usually have them, either one will be very predominant, and then there'll be a second or third that are really close behind. Or I've even had a pattern where I've had 3 or 4 of them be all the same number. And it's like, we got to start somewhere.
So is it a quiz that you give them when you're working with them? I was just going to say, where do we get the quiz?
Yeah.
You work with her on this. Is this why I like blend red wine?
I love that. Well, yeah, sure. Why not?
I think you're all like, she's going to
Oh,
go.
my
Okay, Linda
goodness.
just said that to me, number 5. Add that to my blend. So, okay, again, weight gain's in there, that mid-afternoon fatigue, hunger, cravings, feeling cold. Yes. Okay, wait a minute. This one's more me.
This becomes a thyroid thing. See, usually when people are a little colder, that's usually connected to the thyroid function.
Oh, infertility challenges.
Yeah, so if you have, and this would be the younger, and even if they had trouble prior to having children.
Yeah.
It could be current, or it could be as you reflect back, the infertility challenge was there. Yeah.
And then from an emotional standpoint, low mood, sluggishness, low motivation. Okay, so I didn't have those, but definitely some parts of these.
Yeah.
So again, as you're tuning in, we're running through the 7 perimenopause archetypes. Let us know as you're watching which one you fit into. And then again, don't just sit there. If you went through it already, maybe it's teaching others. And share this, by the way. Share this. Yeah. We always ask you to share, follow our live streams. Share this with others so they can get the information early on. All right, 2 more. So number 6 is the unicorn.
Oh, don't we all like to be a unicorn?
Yes.
Yes, we do. But here's the deal. This is someone that's going to have milder symptoms. It does not mean they don't have symptoms.
Okay.
So they're not immune to having the menopausal symptoms at all. It just means it's time for them to be proactive versus reactive.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have lesser symptoms, quieter symptoms. So now we need to really project that focus on, even though we're not having a lot of symptoms, we need to be working on bone health. We need to be working on cardiovascular health. We need to be working on metabolic health, because all 3 of those will be a factor for them in postmenopause.
So this isn't the person that says, I don't have any of it.
Exactly.
You got to maybe get a little bit more introspective and say, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I do have that.
Yeah.
I don't have all these other things.
Yeah, they may be a little bit less and not so predominant. Your friends are over here sweating while they're talking to you. I had a friend, literally, she would be talking to me and half of her face would just start sweating. She had MS and it was just crazy. It would start sweating and she's like, summer moment.
Yeah. It's so annoying.
Yeah. And so, how would you feel if you had someone across there with their unicorn on going, well, look at you.
Sorry for you.
Sorry for you. Well, guess what, unicorns? You're not perfectly perfect.
Yes.
We need to work a little bit on these other things that are going to be more predominant as they go through aging process.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Even though they may have not had any major issues in perimenopause, what's going to happen? Is it going to get worse in menopause or postmenopause?
I think where we just, not necessarily, we just trajectory look more at bone health and cardiovascular health and the metabolic health. We want to be more proactive because those things will be impactful to them.
Right. Again, this is all about anything in life. You always hear when someone, let's just take it to the extreme, someone gets diagnosed with something and it is stage 2, stage 3, stage 4.
Yeah.
What does the doctor say? It would have been great to get this early on or to be proactive to prevent some of this from coming on. So this is the proactive aspect. All right, we're going to take one more break. And when we come back, number 7, the low, get low.
We're going to start limboing in here. We're going to limbo bar out. We're going to be limboing.
Hey, I'll go grab one for you. Jenny Gabriel, JG Optimal Wellness. Keep those comments coming in. Somebody just said, again, this is part of my blend. Add it to my blend. We'll find out. Are you the low? That's coming up next.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you, being on the Monica Adams show has just been a delight. It's been a joy. What she's doing for the community is amazing. I'm so proud to be sitting in this blue chair, being honored and honoring the people for the showcase that I'm doing for the Neiman Marcus Black Creatives in the Lou Black History Month Showcase. I want to end this segment with a poem that I wrote. I grew up on the north side. That's where it all started. Dreams, goals, and aspirations grew within me, and they never departed. You see, my environment was jaded, but that never fazed me, because what my parents instilled in me made my dreams go crazy. Mama was my cheerleader, and Papa gave me the tools. Everything could be yours, they would say. Just make sure you follow these rules. Work hard, don't look back, and keep your mind set on stable. And if you can't find yourself somewhere to sit, create your own table. Thank you, Monica, for creating this table. Take care. Be blessed.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. We're nearing the end, so the beauty of streaming is you now can go back, watch from here forward, and then go back and watch the rest. You're going to definitely want to watch this one today and then pass it along. I just saw a comment from Linda, and she's like, I wish I had known this 20 years ago. But what you can do now is share that with people that you know that are younger. Maybe you've got cousins or nieces or anybody that, again, is in your circle. Help them with this. Tell them, hey, you've got to watch this one for sure. So Jenny Gabriel, JG Optimal Wellness, nutritional therapy practitioner, send her a message after this and say, oh my gosh, this is me and I need some help with this. Jenny at jgoptimalwellness.com. Again, you can direct message her on social media at JG Optimal Wellness. Don't forget about that free assessment call that she can take with you and then set up appointments. There's the QR code for that. And then, of course, always having the extra community support as you get into her Facebook page, the Menopause Belly Secrets. All right, we've run through several. We went into the break and we said the last one is, what is the low low?
The low low. This is very common in menopause. Okay. And going into postmenopause. So this is where you start to see low estrogen, low progesterone, low testosterone. Okay. We're going out of perimenopause late. We're going into menopause now. And when we're in menopause, we're just keep going down. We're going to postmenopause. We're at those lowest markers. This pattern often comes after years of stress and underfueling. That's where I see this happen. And the body just simply it's done.
It's shutting down.
It's shutting down. It's done. It's just gone quiet.
Because,
and this is a sign of that because it's just been pushed so hard for so long that it just goes quiet.
So people are going through, women are going through, not even realizing why, but they're starting to have some symptoms.
Oh, yeah.
They're eating less. They're pushing harder in their workouts.
Right. Yep.
Not sleeping probably well.
Not sleeping well. Okay. You're going to see more depression. You're going to see the Sahara Desert. We talk about that a lot on here. Show up.
You did say, though, in this that it's more common in menopause, but can show up earlier. So, yes, we have talked about the Sahara Desert. The vaginal dryness and the irritation, for me, showed up in menopause. But she's saying it could show up earlier.
Yeah.
Difficulty building muscle.
Yeah.
And then we talked about sleep issues, joint pain.
And this is key because I see a lot of women, especially women that have had a surgical hysterectomy that put them into menopause, even if they were left with just a ovary, you'll see they'll start having these symptoms appear.
Okay.
That's where the earlier comes in when I talk about that. Otherwise, it's going to happen naturally through menopause and then, of course, postmenopause, because that's where this one's predominantly at. Usually is typically when we're in that year of menopause where we don't realize that we're in menopause till we look back. We'll see this. And I see this vaginal dryness with women doesn't tend to be a gradual thing. For most women, it's like one day we're fine and the next day.
Absolutely.
Holy cow.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, I had no warning.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What just happened here?
Well, and the problem is because it shows up like that, suddenly you're like, okay, what do I do with this? Right? We're trying to get you armed with the information.
Yeah.
You're trying to get into your doctor. Then your doctor's like, oh, well, here, take a lube. right?
Yeah.
No. What can we do to prevent this?
Yeah.
That's when you then have
Yeah.
all the lab work done. You find out where you are, what are your hormones looking like. Then you discuss, do I do hormone replacement therapy? Do I do bioidenticals? This
Right.
is kind of the pattern for you. Because a lot of you are saying, I wish I had known about this. That's why Jenny and I do this show, so that you do get armed with the information.
Yeah.
And that you don't stay there, you don't suffer through it. And I mean, again, when all of these things start to go wrong, all I hear is depression. We actually just talked about which one we wanted to choose with regards to our book we're going to do in just a second. Jenny chose healing. It could have been really, really depression or healing. I think either one of them.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I guess I was going from the
I
standpoint
like
we're
it.
healing
I
people
like-
today
I
with
prefer
giving
healing.
them the
Yes.
information
Yes.
to go with. But I agree with you. It definitely could be depression because you see that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've told my story about like what happened.
Yep.
It was like I just felt like I was falling apart.
Yep.
You know, everything like the empty nesting and all that happened at one time.
Were you
and
crying all
we
the time?
were moving. Yeah, I was emotional. I was like, what is going on with me? Get a grip, girl.
See, and you tried to. You're like, what is wrong with me? I'm not like
Yeah.
this. Come on, I'm strong. And then,
Yeah.
and this is why we also ask guys to watch these shows, because I want you to go, what is happening to her?
Right.
Right. And then be
Yeah.
able to go, oh, okay, wow, I've learned so much from these shows to know how to approach that or how to help them along with it.
Right.
Be very delicate with it.
Right.
Please be delicate with us.
Right.
Okay, you're not broken though. Your body
No.
is just communicating.
Yeah,
with
it's
you.
just communicating. And this is where, guys, you're going to be, the thing is once you understand the archetype, everything changes because then we can work on food, we can work on movement, supplementation if it's necessary. And then you kind of know what the expectations are. And then you also can give yourself some self-compassion because you realize that this is real. This is not just a thing. It's okay, this is what a normal process is probably looking like for me. So just know that you're going to be a blend typically in these. If you saw yourself in multiple ones, that's great. That's part of the process. Know that the one that would be supported is going to be the one that's going to scream the loudest. So when I'm looking at this as a quiz and it's a rated quiz, the highest marker is going to be the one we address first.
Absolutely.
And they can adjust. They can change too throughout the perimenopausal process, menopause process. So just know that too. But just know if you have targeted relief, guys, targeted support, you're going to get that relief that you need.
And talk about these things. Okay?
Yeah,
This-
talk to your girls
Yes,
about it.
yes.
You know?
Have them get with Jenny and everybody get the quiz and then let her say, okay, this is you. And
Yeah.
don't think that you're all the same because, again, a lot of you are like, oh, this was me or this is me or that's a blend. Or is there
Right.
one that shouted it that the loudest? Linda said, well, I'm trying to climb out of the ditch. Cindy,
We got you, girl.
Hormone replacement is confusing. Okay.
It is.
Pellets, creams, patching, etc. Pellets have seemed to become a business. She wants to know what do you feel is the safest?
Honestly, if you're asking my personal opinion, and this is not a medical opinion, this is just mine,
Yep.
because this is what I choose to do, is BHRT, which
Yes.
is bioidentical because it's most identical to my normal hormones, and it's not as synthetic because they compound us, okay?
And she and I would agree on that. That is the route I chose to go as well. But, you all work with your physician. If
Yeah.
it's a physician that's not working for you, find a new physician. This is why you talk to your girlfriends. Who do you go to? Who do you trust?
Yeah, get some good, and maybe you go to one or two people, maybe a couple people that you go to get an opinion. Because I know that there's pellets that are bioidentical too. But my only concern with pelleting is once you put it in, you can't adjust it.
For 3 months, right?
For 3 months. And so, and most of the time they're really careful about that. But, if somebody has an adverse reaction, it's in there. So that's why I'm always like, yeah, I would tend to, myself personally, I was BHRT because it's a cream. They can make that adjustment.
Right.
If I have a response, I just stop using it and we readjust that.
Yes, again, this is kind of like this show. I was given information by people who I was very close with who had already gone through, right? This is kind of you. For some of you, they're saying, I wish I had known. Well, now it's up to you to educate those younger so you can help them out, right? This is the community of helping. And you can say, Monica and Jenny were talking about hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical. Ask questions. Find out what works for you. Because there's an oral that you can take. There's also the cream. There's the
creams.
pellets.
There's patches.
There's patches, and I think there's also a vaginal one, right? That they,
Yes.
which I was like, no thanks.
Yes.
I don't want. And I think you have to do it every day, right? Don't you?
I think it just depends on the person.
So I think some people would be like, well, why wouldn't you do the cream? The only thing that I heard from some of the doctors was that people thought, oh, well, what is it sticky?
Yeah, and it's not a sticky thing. And some people have an absorption issue. Okay, if they don't absorb, then they're, the way they need to through the skin, then that's may
why
be why they may not want them to do it.
Because
but
to me,
that's one of those
easiest.
things. It's a trial and error thing. You just got to try it because you don't know till you try it if that's an issue, unless you just automatically know that. But I'm telling you, I wouldn't know that.
Absolutely, and make sure that you're working with someone that is then retesting, because if you're going along and like, oh my gosh, I got my life back.
Yes.
Okay, now it's changing.
Yes.
They have to adjust it.
Yeah,
That's
and
the beauty of it being compounded for you.
Especially in the beginning, you should be getting tested every 90 days until you've leveled, and then they'll stretch it out to 6 months to a year, unless you start having symptoms that are differently. But definitely check around.
Yeah.
I mean, don't just settle on one unless you're really comfortable with that person and you've been recommended and you have a good relationship with them. But that's the thing, guys. You got to be able to have a relationship with the person that you're with and feel a comfort level. Because if you don't feel a comfort level, that's God's little wink to you that that's probably not the
Find
person.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
again, I stress this, and I will let you know who I'm talking about hopefully in the next week, that this gentleman that's coming on. But the guy that went with me, I turned and looked at him and I said, did you see our show about andropause? He goes, oh yeah, I did. He goes, I didn't know it had a name, but I definitely knew that there was something with us. And I said, so have you had your labs done? He's like, no. And I go, are you on testosterone? He goes, no, I used to always hear that, like, is it necessary? And then we started running through things that he goes through, and he's like, I go, you're going to say it. For a guy, you're going to be like, I just thought that's what we had to deal with.
Yeah.
The same thing that we used to think.
Yeah.
So no, have it done. Talk to everyone, men and women both, all ages. Make sure that they are communicating, first of all, and then getting tested. So our quick reflection.
Yeah. Quick reflection is you don't have to stay in this state, guys. So, work with your body, not against it.
Yes.
That's what we need to really focus on. And, midlife can be more kind of considered a reset. We've talked about reset, recalibration on here, but it could be a powerful one if you have the right tools, okay? And not a breakdown of the body. It's a reset.
A lot of you get a chance to watch bits and pieces as you head off to work, or you watch this later. So I would love for you to drop a comment in, do a little hashtag replay, and say which one of these is you. Again, if one of them screams loudly, or are you a blend? Again, it's the awareness and it's the communication, but then it's what to do with it. And that is to let Jenny take it, have her do the quiz with you and find out. Then she's armed with the information to be able to help you. So again, perimenopause isn't the beginning of a decline. It's an invitation to listen differently. I love that.
Yes.
Just in life, if there's a number one thing that I think we all need to work on, it is listening.
Absolutely.
Patience and listening.
Yeah, patience and listening, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Probably both 1.
So I will wrap up saying I'm a blend. What about you? A lot of really good comments coming in. Maybe we even go deeper in. And by the way, the person that I think is coming on, you and he would be good together in a show. So that might be something in the future as well, because we could go deeper into this. There are a lot of you that probably still have a ton of questions that once you are met with the information, and she's going to handle it from the nutrition standpoint, then you need someone from a medical standpoint to say, okay, let's do your labs. Okay, let's put you on this. I like that show coming up in the future.
Yeah,
That
definitely,
sounds good
because
to
there's
me.
definitely things where I would plug in with nutrition and lifestyle 100% to help with that.
But it's also, I mean, you've mentioned it before, but I love ideas of partnerships.
Oh, love
right?
those. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
more
she
powerful.
chose healing today.
I
And it's
did.
interesting, whether this was meant to be or not, because of my mom falling and because of the weather, some things had to be shifted around. So we have Angela Skirtu coming on tomorrow. She is a counselor. She's a sex therapist as well.
Great.
And so, yes, so I asked her to address it more so from what she finds in couples in 2025. What were the most struggles that her couples went
love
through,
that.
and as we get into 2026. So if you're struggling, and just be real, all right, no one has perfect marriages and relationships, it's up and down, but if you're struggling in your relationship, or at the same time. If yours is on top of the world, but you want to watch for some things that could be coming, stressors that could be coming, because that fits into the stress aspect of what we're talking about.
Right.
Tomorrow's show is for you. Angela, looking forward to having her on. Okay, so how are we going to heal? Let's find out. This is the newest book, by the way, 100 Days of Healing. This is a daily devotional from Stephen Arterburn, and we just started this one, so we are now on day 3. This is God's unending compassion. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. So this is from Lamentations 3:22 through 23. The world seems to be getting darker by the day. You know, a lot of people, and in the news right now, if I was in the news, we would be talking about what? Minneapolis. In fact, we were listening at church, and it was all about how everybody's feeling right now. People feel dark. People feel depressed. In fact, we can empathize with Minneapolis, right? Because the world was all on St. Louis after Ferguson. Remember, I can't believe how long ago it was, but every day in the news, it was St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis. It just puts this dark cloud over the top of you. Well, how do you think Minneapolis feels? That's the same way right now. So we have to be empathetic with them. We hear news of school shootings, terrorist attacks, natural disasters so often that we don't even process all of it. That's a bad thing because you become immune to that kind of news. We often become numb to it. Psychologists have created a term for this phenomenon, compassion fatigue. Aren't you thankful that God never has compassion fatigue? Yeah, indeed. His great love is the reason we do not have to fear the forces of evil. We can look disease, depression, and despair in the eye and say, quote, you will not win. Because of our Father's extraordinary love for us and his faithfulness to provide all his precious children need, we will not only be able to survive everything that life throws our way, but we will also be able to spend eternity with him in heaven. Whether the darkness you are facing today comes from a scary diagnosis, relational brokenness, or spiritual warfare, resolve to rest in God's provision. Boy, I just got chill. That was a really good one. Though your health, your friends, or your family members may abandon you, who won't? Your Father in heaven. Ask him for comfort. Open the word as often as you can. Soak in the promise that he has made. We do these devotionals to make you start thinking. And then you should take it to scripture. Open up. Find, I was in church a couple weeks ago and they said, read 10 words of scripture, then sit with it and then reflect on it and read it, reflect on it, and then have some peace. Going beyond that for a lot of people, it gets confusing. Trying to break down the Bible alone is hard. It's why there's so many different versions of it. C.S. Lewis said, look for yourself and you will find in the long run only hatred, loneliness, despair, rage, ruin, decay. But look for Christ and you will find him, and with him, everything else thrown in. Charles Stanley said, God is awesome in power, and there's never a time when he is not beside you. He is faithful, and he is holy. Today's prayer, gracious God, thank you for the unending compassion you daily pour out on my worn and weary soul. When I'm hurting, I need you to comfort me. I am so grateful that you never tire of hearing about or providing for my needs. Help me to extend that kind of compassion to others. Amen. And by the way, if you do want further reflection, you can go to Exodus 34, verse 6, Psalm 103, verse 13, or Isaiah 49, verse 13. That is where you reflect a little bit longer. And sometimes I think a lot of you like to wrap up this show and maybe then sit and pray, and you're in a better space is what we're hoping for, right? That's what this show is about. Putting you, either educating you like we did today, giving you some hope, giving you some inspiration. Better days are coming. Better days are ahead. Love this. Do we know what we're doing? No, I don't think we. Do we? You do? I don't think we've planned it yet. I think this is maybe the next one needs to be that breakdown because maybe he's coming on at that point. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Or I always ask all of you, is there something that you want us to go deeper into? Is there something we've covered? And the library of shows that I've done with Jenny, by the way, on YouTube. Even if you watch on Facebook or you watch on Instagram, please subscribe to my YouTube channel because there are 750 plus shows on there. So you can go back and watch many of these. We also have a playlist. So we break it down into Medical Mondays and Wellness Wednesday to make it easy for you to follow. All right. One more time, Jenny Gabriel, nutritional therapy practitioner. She is here to help you. Don't go at it alone. I think that's the greatest thing that we can say. Again, talk to your friends, have everybody to come together and say, oh my gosh, this show, I'm a blend of all of these. How do I help myself? At JG Optimal Wellness or jgoptimalwellness.com. And the website is JG Optimal Wellness. And her email, by the way, Jenny at JG Optimal Wellness. Christy said, great show today. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Can you tell us again as of the devotional book? The devotional books are Stephen Arterburn. That we've been trying to get him on, by the way. We still need to work on that. They're 100 Days to Freedom books. The new one is called 100 Days of Healing. The other ones we read are 100 Days to Freedom. So yeah, we always do that when I'm here on set at the end of our segment. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, friend.
And tomorrow, again, Angela Skirtu. Tune in for that. We've got some great shows coming up. By the way, our Foodie Friday this week is Dee Dee Mao and a new location they just opened up in Webster Grove. So can't wait to sit down with the owner, Julie. And I love these shows. Have you been watching them? I get hungry constantly. I'm like, oh, my stomach. I think if you listen closely, you hear my stomach.
I think you need to eat before you watch the show.
Yes.
It's like going to the grocery store. Eat before you go to the store.
Zach, by the way, is having a blast taking the recipes and making a lot of them. He made the Cool Whip dessert twice now already. Yes. Last week was the beef medallions. Wow, they were so good. And bread pudding. Oh my gosh. I mean, people were watching that going, I'm salivating. I'm so hungry. Then we did our job, right? All right, everybody. Love you so much. Keep that inspiration going in your life. When you feel a little off, surround yourself with people who really, truly love you. And each of you, right? You hand off. You each help each other when you are down. And then you rise back up again. Love you all so much. Remember, the greatest thing you can do is be kind to each other. Be kind and God bless.